Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am thrilled and so excited to listen to success coach, motivational speaker, author, lawyer, and entrepreneur, Michelle May O'Neill. Hello, Michelle.
Hello. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. Best day ever.
Best day ever.
Okay, Michelle, I'm going to leave you to take it away.
All right. Sounds great.
Bye.
So I want to ask you all, what are you doing with your 86,400 seconds every single day? Every single day, we each are given 86,400 seconds. And we each get to decide how we're going to use those. Are we going to use them productively? Are we going to plan our day? Are we going to plan our life? Are we going to be intentional about how we go about living our lives? Or are we just going to let the wind blow us whichever way it wants to blow us? I would tell you that if you have goals and dreams and things you want to do with your life, then you need to start living intentionally. You need to live a life that you design. So what we're going to talk about today are the 4 steps to living a life by design. And within those 4 steps, we're going to focus on the 7 areas of life. Now, these 7 areas of life are not anything that I have created. We've all heard of the Wheel of Life. I think Zig Ziglar made it most popular in the 70s and 80s when he was at the height of his career, but even he didn't create the Wheel of Life. Let's talk about the 7 spokes of the Wheel of Life. So the first spoke is fitness. So how are you doing with your fitness? This isn't just like getting out and running a 5K. I mean, this is talking about your health, your nutrition, your doctor's visits. Are you moving, all of your movement? So it's all of those things kind of wrapped into one. Second area, finance. How are you doing with your money? Do you have savings? Do you have an emergency fund? Or, do you have more month left over at the end of your money? Third, field, career, your passion, what makes you get out of bed in the morning. Family is 4th, faith, friends, and fun. So those are the 7 areas: fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun. We're going to go over those and over those, so you'll get them down. Now, when we each have these 86,400 seconds in a day, we get to choose how to use those. You get to choose how you use them. I get to choose how I use them. And frankly, Beyonce gets to choose how she uses them. And so, Beyonce is, I think, the most productive woman that I could imagine, right? She uses her seconds with gusto and glory. And, and so we all have to decide how much gusto and glory we're going to use our seconds in. So the first step in living a life that you design, instead of just going whichever way the wind blows you, the first step is to look in the little bitty rearview mirror and look at where have you been. Look at your last 12 months. There's a reason that the rearview mirror is small and the front window of the car is big. But to start with, we're going to start with where have you been? Now, I want you to evaluate your year in review. Look at the past year. I want you to list 3 things that are the best things that happened to you in the last year. And then what are the 3 worst things that happened in the last year? What goals did you set for yourself? What did you meet? Did you meet those goals? Or where did you fall short? Where did you miss your mark? What can you do to it? What could you have done in the last 12 months to improve? Now, this is a step that I do religiously every year between Christmas and New Year's. This process that I'm going to teach you today to live a life by design, I do it every year between Christmas and New Year's. I got started one year doing it this way because I got tired of setting my New Year's resolutions And then a month later, they're out the window in the trash, and I'm back to the old ways of doing things. And I thought to myself, there has got to be a better way to make this work, to actually achieve the things that I want to achieve. And so I set about creating a pathway to live my life by design. So to start with, now, one more thing. I do this at the end of the year, getting ready for the next year. However, this year, this pandemic year, this year of all years that has gone in no way like anybody thought it would, I've actually done this every quarter. At the end of every quarter, the last week of the quarter, I sit down and I do this process for the next quarter. So I would encourage you, it's not just an annual thing. You don't just have to look at where you've been for the last 12 months. You could look at where you've been for the last 3 months and then reset your goals. In this pandemic year where nothing is happening the way we expected, that may be the better way to go about it. So look in that rearview mirror and analyze for yourself, like, where have you been? What have you done well? Where have you missed the mark? And what could you have done better? What are the potholes that got in your way of achieving your goals? Once you've done that, and frankly, that is the very hard step. It's short, it's fairly straightforward, but it's difficult. I mean, to really self-analyze, to really sit there and look in your rearview mirror and honestly tell yourself, like, here's the things I did great. I think as women, sometimes we fall short of giving ourselves the praise that we deserve. So really, I want you to give yourself some praise. But then I think we also, any of us, have trouble really giving ourselves that report card, that self-analysis of, here's the things I could have done better. So I want you to do that. Take some time, meditate on it, give it some thought, really kind of do a deep dive into it and write those things down. You don't have to share that with anybody. In fact, don't share it with anybody. But if you journal, whatever form of journal it is, or whether you just want to make some notes and put it in an envelope and put it away for later, whatever format that is for you, do this analysis because it will really help you moving on to the next steps. Second step, where are you now? My mama always told me, like, in order to know where you're going, you got to know where you're at. So you can't know where you're going if you don't know how to get there. So you got to know what is point A. To get from point A to point B, you got to know what point A is. Where are you at right now? I want you to do an exercise, and it's involving the Wheel of Life. If you have never heard of it, Google it. Look at the Wheel of Life. The Wheel of Life is going to have those 7 spokes on it. And you're going to look at this, each spoke on a scale of 1 to 10. So again, the spokes: fitness, finance, family, field, faith, friends, and fun. 7 spokes on your Wheel of Life. And then we're going to go through a process and rate where you are right now on a scale of 1 to 10 on each of those 7 areas. Now, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to, again, do a self-analysis. If you rate yourself as a 10 out of 10 on every scale, you're not being honest with yourself. Likewise, don't be too hard on yourself. I mean, there's going to be an area or two that you are rocking the scale on. And then there's going to be some other areas where you're not doing so hot. The most important part of this analysis is to be honest with yourself without being too critical or too lenient. Be honest. So look at your fitness. How are you doing on your nutrition? How are you doing on movement? One of the most important books for me on the fitness and health and personal health scale is called Younger Next Year. It's a great book. Shoot me an email if you can't find it, but it's everywhere. It was a very impactful book for me about the importance of paying attention to this fitness and health scale. I'm a 50-year-old woman, and the outlook for us 50-year-old women, you can either live to be 80 in a state of decay, you're in pain, you're sick, you're falling below the wellness line, you're on medicines, you hurt, whatever, or, or you can train yourself on a day-to-day basis where you go into those older years rocking it, doing very well, doing the best you can to not be ill or decrepit. And then at some point we're going to die. I mean, we're all dying right now, aren't we? So what we all want is to go towards those older years with as much vibrancy as we can. And the key to that, frankly, is this fitness scale. So how are you doing? Have you had your mammogram? Have you gone to the doctor like you're supposed to? Have you gone to all your checkups? Have you gone to the dentist? A lot of times I put off the dentist. Right now in this COVID time, it's even harder to kind of go to the doctor and get those appointments done. But have you done all of those things that you need to do? All the checkups and the testing, especially at this point in my life, this 50-year-old woman point, we add a few things to the list of those tests that we need to do. So where are you at with your doctors? Are you right with your doctors, or do you need to improve on that? How are you on your nutrition? I mean, frankly, 1 in 3 Americans is clinically obese. 1 in 3 Americans is clinically obese. We are less active as a society. We sit at our jobs, then we sit at home watching Netflix, and we don't move and use our bodies. And Mama said, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you want to use it. You want to use your body so that when you go into your advanced years, you have a body to use. You don't want to lose it. Are you moving enough? How are you doing on your food intake? We are so busy about our lives that we tend more than ever to eat fast food, processed foods, and not eat whole foods. So, how are you doing on your food? Childhood diabetes is an epidemic. It's at epidemic proportions. So are you influencing your children to do these things the right way? They learn by watching you. So rank yourself on this fitness and health scale of 1 to 10. Where are you at? Some of you are going to be rocking that scale and maybe falling short on some other. Others of you are going to say, I'm not doing so well on that one. I need some improvement. Finance, second one. Second spoke of the wheel of life, finance. 7 in 10 Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. 7 out of 10 Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. And that statistic is pre-COVID. Now think about those 7 out of 10 Americans. What happened if they got laid off or if they got sick? They don't have enough in savings to take care of those emergencies. I'm a big follower of Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey preaches to us to have a 6-month emergency fund set aside that you don't touch, and then to have your retirement and your other sources of funds. Do you have 6 months of an emergency fund? If not, you need to be focusing on that. How are you on your credit card debt? I mean, by not having an emergency fund, if something happens that's unexpected, then we incur credit card debt. Consumer debt is at an all-time high. Student loan debt is in the trillions of dollars. So with this finance scale, look at your green gap. What is the green gap? The green gap is whether you have enough green left over at the end of your month, or does your green run out before the month runs out? If your green gap is failing a little bit, then you need to rank yourself on that scale of 1 to 10. How are you doing on your finances? Third, family. I'm a divorce lawyer by profession. That's my day job. They say that of first marriages, 53% of first marriages end in divorce. And those statistics are even higher for second or third marriages. So we've got a whole lot of people that are getting divorced. And then you imagine out of that remaining 47%, how many of those are unhappy in their marriage but they just haven't done anything about it. They haven't gotten to the divorce stage, or maybe they never will. They're just going to be miserable. So out of all the marriages that are existing out there, how many of them are really happy? I see families in crisis like every day. That's my profession. And if you are in a family in crisis, whether it's unhappiness in your marriage, your children aren't succeeding the way you want them to, your close family, your parents, your brothers, sisters, siblings, whatever, if your family isn't where it needs to be, what can you do to help with that? Rank yourself on the scale of 1 to 10 on this family spoke of your wheel. Now, the fourth one is field or career. Field. What is your purpose? What is your mission? What is it that makes you get out of bed every morning? What do you do? Statistically, 55% of Americans are dissatisfied with their job. Somewhere between 55 and 70% really wish they could do something else. So think about this. The average American, the majority of Americans, more than 50% of Americans are sitting in traffic to drive to a job that they hate. And then they get in the car at the end of the day, they sit in traffic again to drive home to a marriage that they're dissatisfied in. So they go to a job they hate, go to a home life that they hate. They do this day in, day out, over and over and over again. And that was before COVID. And now maybe they're just sitting at home being miserable with it all. And that's what we call life. That's what the majority of Americans are calling life. Is that good enough? I say it's not. Let's be satisfied in our career, satisfied with our family, and do what we can to make those improvements. Maybe you have dreams of starting your own business. Maybe your career is not what you want to do all of your life, and you have these dreams of doing something else. What are some action steps that you're going to take to make that happen? We'll talk about that next. Where do you rank yourself on this field? Are you rocking your career? Are you happy and successful and doing the things that you want to do? Or is there room for improvement? Where are you at on that scale of 1 to 10? Faith. What does faith mean to you? I'm not here to tell you one religion is better than the other. All I'm saying is, do you recognize that you're a small speck in the universe? Do you recognize that the universe is full of gratitude and love and connection with other people? Maybe for you, faith is about meditation. Where are you at on your faith scale and what you believe in? 1 to 10 scale. 6, friends. 8 out of 10 people in America endure toxic friendships. 8 out of 10 people have friends that are bringing them down. You don't want that. You want friends that are going to bring you up and elevate you. So where are you at on your friend scale? Do you have enough friends? Do you need more friends? Do you need different friends? Do you need different influences? Think about who are the people that were influential to you in the last 12 months? And are those people that are bringing you up or bringing you down? Rank yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on this friend scale. And the last scale is fun. Number 7, the last spoke on the wheel is fun. Now, this is one that I struggle with. This is frankly the one that's my lowest score because I tend to be so hyper-focused on my work and so goal-oriented that I kind of forget to laugh. I forget to have fun. I forget to just, put all of that aside and go, do something frivolous. So this is my hard one. This is the stop and smell the roses scale. How are you? Some people stop and smell the roses all the time, and this may be their high scale. For me, it's not. This is one of my low ones, and I have to remind myself to tell a joke every day or to laugh or smile or go do something fun. Whatever fun means to you, where are you at on this scale of 1 to 10? So once you go through this analysis and you figure out, here's where I am today. I'm rocking it on the career scale. I'm not so much on the fun scale. My family and friends are doing all right, but could probably be better. And you know what? I really need to move and get with the doctors. Where are you at today? So then the third step is, where do you want to be? What are your dreams? What are your big, ambitious things that you wish you could do on any of these scales? What is your why? What do you believe is your purpose? Why do you get up every morning? What are the things that make you excited about living? So I want you to take these same areas of life, the 7 areas, and I want you to set 3 goals in each one. So you're going to end up with 21 goals, and that's a lot, but we're going to deal with that. So your goals have to be, they have to be specific and measured. They have to be time oriented, and they have to be realistic. It's not realistic to say, you know what, Michelle, in 3 months, I want to lose 50 pounds. That's not realistic. It's not reasonable. It's not oriented to time. There's nothing specific about it. Now, if you said, Michelle, in 3 months, I want to move 3 times a week. I want to meal plan so that I'm eating healthier, go to the grocery store once a week and buy food, and maybe you cook once a week. And then, generally focus on losing a pound every 2 weeks. Is that realistic? That's the kind of goals you want to set. Something that is specific, reasonable, measured, and oriented to time. In other words, this is where you really kind of get down to putting that design to your life, designing your life the way that you want it to be. What are the 3 goals in fitness? Do you need to go to the doctor? Do you need to get your checkups? Do you want to move more? Do you want to eat healthier? Do you want to help your kiddos eat healthier? What are the 3 things that you realistically want to achieve in the next 12 months with your fitness? Finance. If you don't have enough money left over at the end of the month, there's one of 2 things you can do about it. Reduce your expenses or increase your money. Do you need to start a side hustle? Maybe network marketing is a good side hustle for you, and you can start, working on essential oils or selling leggings or doing something that gives you some extra income so that you can meet your expenses every month. Or maybe you need to, for a short time frame, cut some of those expenses, cut the cable bill, have a car that's paid for instead of a big car payment, reduce your expectations of what your car looks like. What are some ways that you can make that green gap be a positive gap instead of a negative gap every month? Savings, save for your emergency fund. So what are 3 goals you can set in your finance area? Family, do you need to maybe spend more time with your spouse? That was one of our goals, mine and my husband's goals for this year, was to set aside an amount of time, even if it's just 20 minutes every day, TV off, phones down, focus on each other. How was your day? What good things happened? What happened that wasn't so good? How did you feel about it? Connection with your spouse. My husband and I do that about 20 minutes every day. A lot of times we do that, we have a hot tub, and so we'll have hot tub time. Phones stay in the house, and we just connect about how the day went while we're sitting in the hot tub before bed. But whatever that means to you, how can you improve on your family scale? Field. Again, are you one of these majority of Americans that are dissatisfied with your job? Do you dream of doing something different? Is that dream realistic? What can you do to get from here to there? So, maybe you need to educate yourself while you still have your day job. Educate yourself on this dream thing that you want to do. Do you dream of opening a pizza place? Do you dream of a food truck? Do you dream of having your own business in some other way? What is it that you wish that you could do? And set 3 goals in that field area for the next 12 months. Faith. Do you want to meditate more? Do you want to focus on gratitude? For me, one of my faith goals this year was to speak with positivity. In other words, I think we all, especially as this year has kind of turned out with all the politics and the pandemic and all the negativity that we have kind of hitting us every day, you know, I set out the year to talk about in my words and my actions to be positive. I know we all know people, Rebecca is one of them, that are just always so upbeat and positive. And you got to wonder how they don't let the negativity of life that we are all experiencing get them down. So one way of doing that is to just, with your words and your deeds, be positive every day. So that's been one of my faith goals in living outside of myself. Sixth, your friends. What are 3 goals that you could have with your friends? Do you need to distance from somebody who's not helping you achieve your goals? And maybe there's somebody out there that's a good role model for achieving goals that you want to be closer to. Call and invite her to lunch, you know, and evaluate those friendships that you have. Are they helping you or pulling you away? Are they building you up or putting you down? Do you need more friends? Do you want to go and find friends that have commonality in the things that you want to be doing? What are your 3 goals for your friends? And lastly, fun. What are 3 goals that you can set this year to increase your fun? Maybe you join a joke of the day email list and share that joke with people around you every day so you get a little chuckle. Maybe once a week you focus on doing something with your kiddos that gets out and is active and fun and laugh. Whatever that means to you, what are your 3 goals for fun? Now, once you've set these 21 goals, you're kind of saying, Michelle, I am so overwhelmed. There's no way I can focus on all 21 of these things and still be doing all the things I need to do every day. Well, you're right. So now what I want you to do is take those 21 goals and narrow them down to the 7 that are super important to you. What are the 7 that are super important to you in this year? Prioritize them. 7. Doesn't have to be one in each area. This is your life. We just live here. You can pick 3 in the fitness area and none in the family area, if that's what you want. This is your world. Pick 7 of those goals that are going to be your priority. Not that you're forgetting the other 14, but focusing on these 7. Now, step 4, the most important step. We've done a full self-analysis. Where have we been? Where are we now? Then we looked at this big front window of our car. Where are we going? Where do we want to go? Now the roadmap. How in the world do we get there? How do we put action behind living this life by design? Well, I have 2 things to offer you on how to put action into your goals. The first one, somewhat obvious, you got to take action. You can't just expect your goals to happen if you don't do things to make it happen. A friend of mine says, take massive action. And that's what you need to do. But you're saying, Michelle, every day I have to get the kids up, I have to get them on their Zoom, they have to do their lessons, I have to make sure they do their homework, and then I've got to work on top of that. And at some point, somebody's got to get some groceries in this place and make some food. And then you expect me to go to the gym and get enough sleep every day. How in the world can I fit in doing something on these goals with all of these things that I have to do every day? Well, here's what I want you to do every day, either at night before you go to bed or in the first thing in the morning when you get up. I want you to make your list of things that you have to do every day that we're going to call the little mundane tasks of life. You know, maybe today's the grocery store day, maybe today's the laundry day, dry cleaning, you know, kids have soccer practice, whatever those mundane tasks of everyday life are, you're going to make a list of those, your to-do list. However, you're also going to list 3 things, 3 baby steps that you can take every day toward some of your goals. Maybe you dream of, you know, owning your own business, doing consulting work in whatever your field is. If so, Maybe your first baby step is to order a book about how to get into consulting, how to start a consulting business. Order that book today. Then tomorrow, maybe your next step is to read a chapter in the book. You know, what are 3 teeny tiny baby steps that you can do amongst your other daily things that life throws at you that can get you one baby step closer to those goals? Just 3 things. And make sure you do those 3 things. Now, I get it. Some days life is going to get in the way. Some days things are going to happen and you're not going to get them done. But every day I want you to get up and commit to yourself that you are designing the life that you want to lead. You're not letting life happen to you. You are happening to life. And plan those 3 things. Write them down in your journal, maybe put them on a note card that you put in your pocket and carry with you all day. On one side, you've got your mundane to-do list of the day, and the other side, you've got those 3 little things that you're going to do. Make a phone call, spend 5 minutes with your spouse, whatever those are, and then set about to do them. But, you know, like I said, life is going to happen. So I want you to think through, and in this part of how do you get there, I want you to think through what are the pitfalls and the blockers that are going to happen. You know, how are you going to handle fear, anger? How are you going to avoid your self-sabotage, laziness, envy, and lack of focus? For me, lack of focus is a big one, right? But self-sabotage can also be a big one. Fear, I do a whole talk on fear. How do you overcome being afraid of stepping out there and doing these big things that you dream of doing? Watch for those blockers, those potholes that are going to get in your way. Have a plan for setting them in their place and then moving them aside. And then focus on your accelerators. What are some accelerators that can help you get to your goals? Gratitude is one of them. Being grateful, finding something to be grateful for every day, even when life doesn't look like it should have a lot of gratitude. Love, focus on love. Discipline. That's how you overcome the lack of focus and the self-sabotage, is with discipline. Make yourself get up every day at a decent time where you have time to journal, where you have time to work out. You know, also integrity. Integrity is an accelerator. Live true to yourself. What are your core beliefs? What are the things that you believe with all of your heart, and live according to those? Passion. Passion is one of the accelerators that can really get you where you want to go. Getting up every morning, I think of Rebecca whenever I think of passion, because every time I see Rebecca, she is positive and she has so much passion with life. So even on those days where you got to fake it to make it, like fake your passion, right? Just fake it. If you don't really believe it, just get up and do it anyway. You know, be passionate about the things, those goals that you want to achieve. Humility. I mean, we're all just a speck in the universe. So humility can also be an accelerator. Learn from others, even if you think that, you know, the lowest among us or the highest among us, they all have something to teach us. And wisdom. Wisdom can be a great accelerator. We get wisdom over years of experience. And so wisdom is that thing that can really help you know, prioritize what's important in your day from what's not so important. Wisdom is one of those things that can help you say, you know, this roadblock is just a thing and I can get over it because I've done that before. A friend of mine, the last couple of minutes I have before we go to Q&A, friend of mine talks about these roadblocks of life. And she says, life is full of shit. Now, not that kind of shit. SHITT. So she says that it stands for setbacks, heartaches, illnesses, trials, and tribulations. We all have setbacks. So can you use your wisdom to know when a setback is a minor thing versus a major thing? Sure, that's one way of getting past your roadblocks. We all have setbacks. We get up in the morning, we go out to get in our car to go to work, you have a flat tire. Setbacks. illnesses. I mean, this seems to be the year of illnesses. We're so focused on illness. Research the illness and wellness continuum. Are you living a life that is above the wellness line or below? Are you living a life that is in illness? Do what you can to get out of that. Do what you need to do, your vitamins, your health, your doctor's visits, whatever, to get yourself above that wellness line. Heartache. So we've got setbacks, heartache. We all suffer from it. Who hasn't had a heartache? When you're in junior high school and that first boy crush breaks your heart, you think the world is going to end, but it didn't. And you learn from that, and you learn that you can move past your heartache. And so that is a lesson that you can take with you through life that gains wisdom, so that you know that you can live past that. Setbacks, heartaches, illnesses. The last is trials and tribulations. Now, whenever my friend said that, I had to think through and analyze what really is the difference between trials and tribulations. I mean, we always hear those two words said together. So do we think they're the same, or is there some difference? I'll tell you, in my research, trials are something that you go through that you're better at the end of it. It's a test. It's the universe testing you to make you better. It's like being in chemistry class and taking a test, and you score well, you fail, or you do somewhere in the middle. It's that marker of how you've studied over time, how you've learned your lessons. So trials are things that the universe gives you to test whether you've learned your lessons or whether you still have work to do. On the other hand, tribulations are things where bad stuff just happens to good people. I mean, it just does, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. There's no way that you can say, like, this is why. Sometimes bad stuff just happens, and it's a tribulation, and it happens. So roadblocks can be setbacks, heartaches, illnesses, trials, or tribulations. And those can get in the way of you living the life that you're trying to design for yourself. They're going to get in my way. They're going to get in your way. They're going to get in everybody's way. So use your accelerators to help you get past that. Use your wisdom. Use your discipline. Even when you're really tired, do you still get up early enough to go and take a walk for 20 minutes to move? Do you still have the discipline on a Sunday to meal prep for the week? Gratitude. Always think of gratitude and love and humility. And then that passion. Mel Robbins tells us every morning, use the blast off. Count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then blast off towards your goals. I do that every morning when my alarm goes off and my puppies are snuggled in and I really just want to stay in bed. But I've got to get up. I've got stuff to do. I've got goals to achieve. I've got baby steps to take toward those goals. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and Mel Robbins blast off. How are you using your 86,400 seconds today? Can you live a life by design instead of blowing in the wind, whichever way you go? I hope you can implement my process to help you make it happen for you.
Well, thanks, Michelle. We so appreciate chatting with you. Your advice is always incredible. I already feel like I've taken some of it from our previous conversations. So I can thank you for being so positive and having such great goals. So thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Bye, Michelle.
Bye.